Hello there, welcome back. Today I have a fun two-page scrapbook layout for you that focuses on using a collection in a different way than what is obvious. We're going to be focusing on the Celebratory Sips Sweet Collection, which is all about the summer drinks. It has a great stamp and die, it has ribbon, it has beautiful holographic dots, and an embossing folder, and some amazing summer papers. So I've actually used this collection and I've created quite a few layouts with it that really focused on the summer beverages and celebrating in the summertime. So I created this one with all of the little drink icons and stickers. I created this one and I actually used the embossing folder that comes in the collection to create a glass-like look, and I created some hidden journal pockets and made just a really fun layout with some drinks. I've also created other little things. So I created this little matchbox pocket drink holder, a little make and take, and I had received one as a gift or as an exchange gift, and I loved it so much that I made my own version. So I've been having fun using this sweet collection in the manner that it was designed, but today we're going to use it in a less obvious way. I have some first day of school photos of 3 of my granddaughters, and I have some fun photos of them in front of the school, in front of a little bus. But every single year, my daughter Emily takes photos of them in their backyard. And I know that you can't see it here, but over the years, that big tree in the background started as a little teeny planted tree, and as the girls have grown over the years, the tree has grown as well, and she always has them use the same slate year after year, and all of the greenery in the background is really going to look beautiful against the pattern papers in this collection. I'm also going to be using the alpha dies, the party alpha dies. So you can see there I have a couple layouts that used those party alpha dies, and I've been trying to incorporate those in lots of layouts because when I want my paper crafters to buy an investment set of dies so that we can use them over and over, I want to show so many ways to use them. I also have a sneak peek here. See this cute little clipboard that I made for a different project? I made it out of the Just a Note stamp and die set. Now this is a stamp and die set that's coming on July 1st, and I love it. It's part of our online exclusive set, and it has little paper clips, a little clip for a clipboard, and I love that. So what I've decided is that maybe I could use that clipboard for some hidden journaling or for a title and tie that right into a back to school layout. So I'm sorting through my patterns here because I want to actually make an alpha die set and make an alphabet that goes in the background of this layout. So that concept isn't new, right? Usually every year when it's back to school, we see all kinds of layouts, back to school layouts that incorporate the alphabet. So Ramsey Kate in these particular photos is just starting kindergarten. This is last year's first day of school photos. Hattie Elaine is 3rd grade and Avery Jean is 4th grade in these photos. But Ramsey Kate would be her first formal school years. Even though she went to preschool, this is her first day of regular school. So I thought we could do the alpha dies more toward the left, a larger amount toward the left, and feature Ramsey Kate on the left and the other girls on the right. So the alpha dies are approximately 2 inches by 2 3/4 inches. So I've made some 2-inch strips of those patterns that I feel like are going to make a really cute pop in the background against the green tones. So I have a couple funny pieces of paper here. In our paper packaging from Stampin' Up, we often get this cardboardy type paper. It's a little thicker than cardstock, but it's not quite as thick as cardboard. And so I love the concept of making my clipboard out of that throwaway background. And then I also think that this looks like craft and it feels like grade school. So I thought maybe we could add the photos to the back of this as well. It does end up being almost all the way covered up. So if you don't have any throwaway pieces that came in your packaging, craft paper works great. You could also use a little bit of crumb cake or pecan pie would look great. So what I like is the concept of having some of the alphabet letters in the back, the party alpha letters in the background, and having that be the color. So I want that to be the color against the neutral old olive on the left, and also to be just the color that pops against all of the neutral tone photos. So the girls do have mostly neutral colors on. They have jeans and t-shirts that are light colored. They have some pinks and some purples that are in the backpack and the shoes. And little Ramsey Kate has a really light pink shirt. So most of the photo is neutral. So I think we can get all the color from the alpha dies and see how that goes. So I'm just actually arranging the actual dies themselves across the pages to see how many can fit and if I can get the whole alphabet or if I just want to do part of the alphabet. But I also think that I like the visual trick that comes when you just use parts and pieces and your brain fills in the rest. Many of those letters are going to be cut out or not show because of the photos. And so I think we can weed out quite a few of those and not waste pattern paper and still have the alpha concept in the background. As of right now, I haven't landed on a size for the old olive striped green pattern in the background. I'm just trying to see how much space I'm going to need for the letters. I do end up landing on the strips there. So the floral strip is 1/4 by 12 and the black pattern paper strip to kind of ground that transition is 1/2 by 12. The green pattern paper ends up being 3 1/4 on the left by 12 and 2 1/4 by 12 on the right. And that just actually works out perfectly to be able to fit all of those letters in the background. And I think it's going to be so playful and fun. And it also is going to be a completely different theme than the celebratory sips would normally be with the summer beverages and the summer drinks. And so I think it's going to be a perfect use. I'm going to be using these celebratory sips suite in a big online event that's going to be coming down the road here. And I want to think of lots of uses for the celebratory sips paper that are not just summer drinks. And so I want to use it in so many ways. And trust me, we're going to use it for summer drinks as well. But I just want to find a variety so we get all kinds of layouts that can be for different themes. So now you can see I've doubled up those strips on the left and the right and added the green paper, and I'm counting the letters here to see how many 2-inch by, approximately 3-inch pieces of pattern paper I need to be able to make the letters. And I've done this randomly, but I've used all pattern paper except 2 letters. There are 2 letters that I used Blackberry Bliss cardstock on. Now you're going to see 2 pieces of notebook paper here. One is about 8 by 11.5 and one is about 9 by 11.5. And yes, I made these on the Cricut, and I'm going to show you how I did that, but don't worry, I'm also going to link a free Design Space file in the description if you just click the More button. So this was very simple to do actually. What I did is I grabbed a piece of notebook paper from the images that I liked, and then I grabbed a printed piece of notebook paper or a piece that was going to be cut where I liked the lines. So I love the edges of the notebook paper to tie into school, but I really wanted lined paper in the background. So there were some print and cut images where the lines were on it already, and so were the edges, but I don't often use print and cut. So what I decided to do is take that top image that has the lines on it and turn that into a draw image. And then add that draw image to the top of the note paper that I liked. I often combine two images to get the perfect image. Sometimes I like the background, but I want something different on the foreground. And by attaching that to the front of the note paper, selecting both images together and selecting the attach tool, then it is attaching a draw image to a cut image. So when you go to click make it, as you can see here, it will draw with your Cricut pen and it will cut the background as well. If you don't use the Cricut, don't worry. You can use actual notebook paper. You can draw lines on white paper. You can use dies. Many people have dies that make that note paper edge. There are so many things that you can do. Just go with the concept. The concept is that I want about an 8 by 11.5 piece of white behind the letters to make the letters pop. And then on the right page, about a 9 by 11.5 inch piece to make those letters pop on the right. Now I'm pulling out a few of those alpha letters to do some treatments on those because we want all kinds of fun and texture in the background, and it's typically the little things that really make a layout stand out. A lot of times there's a lot of little details that you can't necessarily put your finger on, but that makes you love the layout as a whole. So I'm taking a 0.8 white gel pen and I'm making some stitching lines around the black letters, the black pattern paper letters. Then the Blackberry Bliss cardstock letters, because these cute embossing folders come right in the Sweet collection and we're using the Celebratory Sips Sweet collection, I'm going to take advantage of the floral embossing folder and emboss both of the Blackberry Bliss letters. Now often I will double up letters in an embossing folder, especially if they're two-toned white core paper, because the crackle will be pretty prominent if you don't have a double layer. But you can go with that crackle as a whole other way to add added texture. So I'm just grabbing an emery board and I'm just going to rub a little bit on the top of that embossing and make it look really distressed and fun. And then for the green letters, I'm going to grab my black journaling pen and make straight lines. Now, I show here that you can use a straight edge, but these are kindergarten letters, so I'm just going to freehand, and it's not going to be perfect. We're just going to add a little outline. Now we have several letters that are a little bit different and have added texture and design elements inside that background to add to that unique background. Now I still don't feel like they pop as much as I want them to in the background, so I'm going to grab my good old standby pecan pie ink and I'm going to ink all the edges of the letters. Now it's a little tricky to get the centers, so what I did is I did a lot of bending of the letters and just kind of worked a little bit of that ink, and it doesn't need a lot, a little bit of that ink in the background, and I did that to all the letters. I won't make you watch me do all that inking, but it really does help those letters stand out a little bit against the white background. Now I really think that these two photos can sort of hug each other, but I also would like to add a little bit of extra space at the top of the larger left photo and at the top of the right photo on the left page. I really think that I could do some hidden journaling underneath the larger photo, and I think that we could add some of those really fun clips and things from the clipboard from the new Send a Note die set. But I just kind of want to get placement of the background letters first. I'll probably be rearranging the photos just a little bit. Now, if it bothers you to be covering up so much of that cute background that we made on the Cricut. You definitely could go with 4x4 photos. You could do smaller photos on the right page, so more of that shows. If you do 4x4 photos, you could also add flip flaps. You can definitely add more first day of school photos here with flip flaps because I used standard size photos. Now I just made some tabs. You can make those tabs out of dies. You can make those tabs on the Cricut. And I thought maybe I might like to add those tabs somewhere, just like file folders or like files or tabs in a notepad. I'm not sure where I want to add those, but I do think I want to add those somewhere. So we have a 4x6 photo on the left and a 3x4 photo on the left, two vertical 4x6s on the right, one 4x4 on the right, and two vertical 3x4s on the right. All of those photos are backed with a 1/4 inch photo mat. Now, something that I love to do so that it just doesn't look boxy is I like to overlap my photos and add a little bit of foam tape on a few of those as well. So I think we could toggle the photos and do a little bit of popping up. That also helps a little tiny bit more of that no paper background to show on the right page. So that solves that little issue. And then it also just is a little bit more pleasing to the eye where you have that dimension of some coming toward you and some being flush, overlapping some of those. There's a lot of green space in the photo, so I'm not sacrificing any of the grandchildren by overlapping those photos, and it adds a more interesting element. So I understand for some people it's hard to overlap photos. They like everything boxy and clean and straight and just like food on a plate. They like it not to touch. So you do you. If you want to straighten those out, you can straighten those out. So I wanted to put foam tape just around 3 of the edges of the left photo of Ramsey Kate so that one of those clipboards would fit. So I just actually used my other sample that I'm using in a different project to see if the clipboard would fit. And if the clipboard fits under the larger photo, then I can create my own little clipboard here. So I've created the clipboard by using that throwaway cardboard piece. And I made it 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then I cut out with the die the paper on white, the little note paper on white, and I added the stamp that comes in that send a note set. And I did that actually in a light blue pool party, just because it reminded me of school lines. I remember the blue lines on the note paper that we had when we were in school. And I used a little bit of silver foil scraps to make that little clip on the top, and I added the clip on the top for that with a little piece of foam tape so that it's up higher and it will stop as you slide it down with the hidden journaling. Now I'm going to make a second clipboard, and again the brown cardboard paper or whatever cardstock you used in the background is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. I rounded the corners with a corner rounder. I used Blackberry Bliss to make the note paper, and then I used another white to make an extra note paper, but I just trimmed the serrated edges off to make it into a little note. And then I'm going to actually stamp that with Blackberry Bliss ink, and it's going to say happy back to school. And then I think I'll add a few other little stamps there. We have a star that I'll do pretty in pink and a plus sign that I'll do in old olive just to coordinate the colors of this collection. I'll probably do a little ink rubbing on that later toward the end, and I can see adding just a couple paper clips to the bottom and adding a little fun texture on that. And then there's all kinds of little arrows and tabs and hearts and stars that come as die cuts in this set as well that we can add maybe a little bit later and add a clip to the top of that as well. Now, since I used one kind of clip on the clipboard on the top, I'll probably use this other clip. So it comes with the little hook piece and the base piece that you can put together to make one of those clips that you see at school or in the office all the time. And again, I used silver foil paper, scraps of silver foil paper for the paper clips and the clips at the top. And I think that is a nice added element. Of course, you could add any colors and make your paper clips and your bits and pieces any colors that go with the collection. I made a couple little arrows out of the coordinating colors. So I've made some of those arrows out of Blackberry Bliss. I made some of those out of Pretty in Pink and Old Olive, and we can put those in different places throughout the layout and have a little bit of fun. So I added those tabs that I made earlier over to the right on the right of Hattie Elaine, and I think that's going to add those same colors that we see on the left over to the right. I've created 3 tags. You can create your tags any way you wish. We have tags and tabs. We have all kinds of tag dies. You can create those on the Cricut. You can create those by hand. I've done that so many times on my channel where you just snip off the corners and make a handmade tag. You can add a hole punch, or we can add some bling to that later. There's also some really pretty gold ribbon that comes in this celebratory sip sweet collection that we could add to the tops of those tags to finish those off. And I think the tags in the background add that great cluster element. I hear from my paper crafters a lot, and they say, if I'm not clustering flowers, I really don't know what to cluster. Tags are a great thing to cluster. You can cluster circles, stickers, tags. There's all kinds of things that don't have to be florals to be able to cluster. So just to tie it all together and to add another element on the top of Ramsey Kate's photo underneath her little cubby, I'm going to add another one of those silver clips and a couple little stars and hearts that we cut out from the Sending a Note collection. I can add a few of those in the background, a larger heart, a smaller heart, and a star. I use the Pretty in Pink and the Blackberry Bliss with that. And then I think it's looking cute that we have a lot of little school icons around, and I'm loving the clipboard for the hidden journaling. I'm loving the clipboard for the little title. I really didn't feel the need to add a huge title to this because we have all of the alpha dies in the background with that element that's so playful and fun. So the Happy Back to School can just be a nice little title over to the right or subtitle for the alphabet. So to tie the right page into the left, I think we need to add a couple little paper clips, a couple little clips, a couple little tabs, or a couple little arrows just to tie it in. It doesn't need much. It has so much vibrant, beautiful color in the background with those letters, and I'm starting to get so happy. But of course, nothing is complete without the bling. Now, the bling that comes with this collection is the holographic dots, and I think those are going to work well. I also think we could add some ribbon to the tabs or the tags on the left-hand side. Now, because I made all of the clips out of silver foil, I'm not necessarily thinking that the gold edged ribbon will work for this. I'm thinking maybe we will go with holographic dots instead. But I'm going to grab a little bit of Old Olive ink and a blending brush and just blend that over the top of the title or subtitle to make that pop a little bit. So here you can see I'm trying that gold ribbon. I've used that ribbon in several layouts with this sweet collection, and I love it so much. It's kind of like a mesh, and it has really delicate gold intertwined in it and on the edges, and it's really beautiful. But I think for this particular layout, because we're going off script and we're using this collection in a different way than is obvious, I think we'll just use the holographic dots on the tops of those and add a few large and small holographic dots, and I'm getting happy. Now I'm happy. I love that we were able to create a unique background. We added some fun Cricut elements with a little Cricut tutorial to to create that note paper the way that you want. We use the sending a note dies that are coming soon on July 1st to create hidden journaling on the clipboard and a cute little title element. We used elements from that sending a note to just add a few little decorative pieces to the bold and bright background on the neutral tones, and I really love it. You can stay tuned for more celebratory sips with the Sweet Collection, and the Sweet Collections are on Buy One, Get One right now on our shop site. Stay tuned for more fun layouts right here on Snips by Kelly. See you soon. Bye-bye.